Monday night, shortly after 8, a severe car versus motorcycle crash at the intersection of West River Road and Taiga Downs in Town of Nichols resulted in both of the motorcycle's occupants being thrown from the vehicle, causing serious injuries. Today, the Tioga County Sheriff's Office announced that one of the two riders, who has been identified as 63-year-old Calvin H. Pierce of Barton, has died due to his injuries. The other victim, a 45-year-old woman from Ulster, Pennsylvania, remains in critical condition. Authorities detained the driver of the car and charges are pending. This investigation is still ongoing.